Thank you so much. I have to tell you, I've had the honor of sitting and listening to Mr. Bernath for 2 presentations, and it is absolutely amazing, the story that he has to share with all of you. So I know that you'll appreciate hearing some really difficult things that he has to share, and also some very hopeful things. He has such an amazing perspective on life. I did share with Mr. Bernath that we spent a week together learning about the Holocaust and the very horrible tragedy that occurred in our history, but also that we focused on being tolerant and how to promote tolerance, and also how to promote one another's differences and similarities. And so that'll be the story you hear from him as well. So what I'm going to do now is turn over the microphone to Mrs. Mintz, who is a parent and also a community member, and she'll introduce Mr. Bernath to you. Thank you again. If we could give Mr. Bernath a warm welcome.
And my son is a 7th grader, Jordan Mintz, if any of you know him. For about 10 years, I worked in Cleveland with the Holocaust survivor population, and Mr. Bernath, I had the pleasure of knowing when I worked there. He was born in Transylvania, Romania in 1926, and when he was just a teenager, not too much older than all of you, he was separated from his family and forced into hard labor and moved from concentration camp to concentration camp. Please take a minute and think about that, what it would be like for you to be taken away from your home and your family and put into hard labor, and how hard that would be for you. He's going to tell you the story of his time during the Holocaust and his time thereafter. So please do give him your attention and your respect, and join me in giving him a warm Hudson Middle School welcome.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here and sharing my experience. What are we talking about the Holocaust? You know, the translation of Holocaust is mass destruction. Here we're talking about mass destruction. The Germans executed, killed 6 million Jews and 6 million non-Jews. You know, when we talk about 11 million Jews, our 11 million people, it's hard to comprehend 11 million. Here we have something here, 26 or 50 people get killed, everybody's upset. Millions of people. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about. That should never ever happen again. That's the important thing. It happened, but don't forget. And you know, the time is almost over. Not many of us survivors are still around to tell the story. But I'm going to tell you the story. I lived in a small town of 90,000 people, and there were 35,000 Jews. We had no problem. We had our friends, our neighbors. Everything was fine until 1941. The Germans, with the assistance from, the Hungarians, with the assistance of the Germans, occupied that part of Transylvania, or where I lived. When the Hungarians occupied the area, everything changed. There were certain restrictions for Jews, discrimination. That we put up with it until early part of 1941. 44. The Germans occupied the area together with the Hungarians. Spring of 1944, my mother and I lived in a small house. There was a knock on the door. We opened the door, my mother opened the door, there were 2 policemen telling my mother, you have 15 minutes, get your stuff together and get out of here. So my mother asked, what you thought? Don't ask any questions. We had no choice. We got the little stuff together. We marched on the streets for about 2 miles with a bunch of other people to a place called the ghetto. I don't know, I never heard the word ghetto before. What is a ghetto? It's a restricted area. They took all the Jews into the restricted area. They took me to a temple where I slept on the floor for 3 days and 3 nights. Nobody had any answers to our questions. What's happening? By that time, we were 25% brain dead. Couldn't think anymore. About 6 days later, we were taken to a small house. A Jewish family lived. 5, 6 families were taken into that small house, were sleeping on the floor. I was taken to a place where I was cutting wood. And I worked there during the day. At least we had some food and a place to sleep on the floor. About 2 weeks later, we were told to assemble on the street again. And we didn't know why. Nobody had the answer. We marched about a half a mile to a railroad track where cattle cars, about 50 cattle cars were lined up. Everybody was put into the cattle car. There were children, babies, elderly people, old people. By that time, we had 50% brain dead. Nobody had the answer. We were put in the cattle car between 65 and 85 people in a cattle car. All we had room for is to sit in one place and don't move. They brought 2 containers for the bathroom and 1 water, but nobody could get up and get it. We were there, traveled for 3 days and 3 nights, until the train stopped at a place later we found out was called Auschwitz, Poland. In all my life, I heard the expression, hell. I didn't know what hell was until we arrived there. They opened the cattle car doors, they pulled everybody off, and what we seen there was the most horrible thing I've ever seen in my life. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning with the spotlights, dogs barking, shootings. The smell was unbearable. Everybody was taken from one another. My mother went on one side, I went to the other side. My little niece, 5-year-old, was torn from the mother. People were screaming, yelling. That was a horrible sight. And then I was taken to a barrack, took my clothes, gave me new clothes, a striped uniform, shaved my head, and I was given a new name. My new name was 70,465. With a metal bracelet tied with a piece of metal. I wasn't there long enough to be tattooed. If you stayed there 8 or 10 days, they tattoo you. I wasn't there long enough. Again, no questions answered. Nobody knew what the answer is. About 6 days later, I was put on a cattle car again. Traveled 2 days, 2 nights. We arrived in Austria to a place called Mauthausen, a major concentration camp. Well, we didn't know, of course. It's on a mountainside. We got out of the, by the way, there were 2 kinds of camps. There was a death camp and a work camp. The death camp is where they put you in a gas chamber and you're dead. The work camp is where you make you work until you die and they replace you. So we arrived to this place, Mauthausen. We marched up on a hill. People couldn't walk, they were shot. Some people were beaten. We arrived to a huge gate with a sign up on top in German, Arbeit macht frei, meaning we didn't know, I spoke German, meaning work will make you free. As we entered, there was a symphonic orchestra playing on our left side. They were playing Beethoven. Picture these people are beaten, killed, and orchestra playing. We had to ride up around a certain circle, left open the inside. They brought out a large container of soup. They called it Burgenisse in German. They were feeding the cows with that. They dumped the whole container to the ground and said to the people, hundreds of people, go and get it. Everybody jumped on top of another just to get a little food. I was in the back, I remember exactly watching them. They put us up in a barrack. I was in barrack number 6. Again, no questions asked. By that time, we were 100% brain dead. We didn't know what was going on. They had no clue. So what are you going to do? Do you mind if I sit down for a minute? Oh, I've been standing now for 2.5, 3 hours. Well, again, Mauthausen, I wasn't there very long, about 6, 7 days. They transported it again to another place called Merck, also in Austria. It's a sub-camp, a work camp. I worked there day and night, digging trenches, whatever they told me to do. One day as I was digging a trench right next to a guard tower. A guard tower is a huge tower with a soldier up on top with a machine gun. Around lunchtime one day, a little package dropped down next to me. I didn't know what to do. I didn't dare look up, obviously. But if I pick it up, they may shoot me. If I don't pick it up, they'll shoot me. So what am I going to do? I picked it up. Around lunchtime, when they served lunch, the soup, the same soup, the kettle soup, I went there and opened the package. 2 pieces of bread, 1 piece of meat in between. If he would have been caught, he would have been shot by the Germans. The next 4 or 5 days, while I worked there, he threw me his lunch every day. Now, what did that do to me? 2 things. Obviously, the food was very important. What was more important is that not everybody is a monster. Even the soldiers are not monsters. There are human beings out there. So that gave me the strength to go on. So I worked there for a few months. And by the way, before we went to work at 6 o'clock every morning, we had to line up a roll call outside the barracks at attention for 2 hours. If you moved, either the capos, they beat you. The capo was Germans, former prisoners. They were beating you, or the Germans would shoot you. So we stood at attention for 2 hours, then we were marched to a work place. We had to work. That went on for a few weeks. One day, I had a tremendous earache. The earache is very, very painful. There was a doctor there, a prisoner. He said, son, you want to live or you want to die? I said, of course I want to live. 3 people held me down. He took a rusty nail, punctured my eardrum. Saved my life. My ear drained for about 10 days. I had inner ear infection. Saved my life. In this camp I had where we slept on the shelves, like sardines. Next to me was a priest from Germany. From Hungary, I'm sorry. A priest from Hungary, about 55 years old. He said, you know what, I dedicated my life to God, all my life. He had gangrene on his leg. I stopped believing. Next day, he was dead. what we saw there, what happened to him and the people, he had enough. He died next day. But everything went okay. I was survived every day, one day at a time. Nobody to talk to. My fellow prisoners, nobody was to talk to them. All we cared about is one thing: food, survive. You know, every time at my house, I see a little squirrel. It reminds me of me. I was looking for food like they do. A few months later, I was sent to another sub-camp called Ebensee, also in Austria. That was about the worst camp I was in. It was a terrible place. They put me work digging a tunnel. They were going to dig a tunnel to put a factory in there where the Allies would not bomb it inside the tunnel. It was a horrible work. Food was good. Just recently, we found that food that we had was 200 calories a day. In the morning, a black coffee, it wasn't coffee, it was black water. For lunch, a cup of soup called durgam, he said they fed the cows with. And dinner, one slice of bread like this. That's all we lived on. But again, survived one day at a time. Nothing we could do. Winter time, standing outside for 2 hours at 30 below zero. I cannot believe it. Now it's 30, 40 degrees here. With clothes on, we feel cold. How did we survive? Not everybody did. Some people did not survive. But we went one day at a time. Then one day, it was May 5th, 1945. I was so weak, no food. I was looking for some grass to swallow, and I remember about 3 worms that I picked up and swallowed. After that, I don't remember anything. I went out. The next day, May 6th, 1945, the 3rd American Army came in. But before that, I have to tell you, that 3 days before, they lined up 17,000 prisoners. That's three days before. The camp commander standing in front and said in German, "I want everybody in the tunnel to save your life, because if bombs fall, you're going to be saved." The word came right down the line. I was on the 2nd row, I remember. And the word was, in German, no, no. Reason being, some people, when they started to know, knew what's going to happen. If you go into the tunnel, they're going to blow up the tunnel. 17,000 people. So the word came right down the line, no, no, no. Now we thought we took a chance. The soldiers up front with the machine gun, taking a machine gun, sat down. They're going to kill us. Didn't happen. May 6th, after I died, and May 5th I died, the American Army, 3rd Army, occupied the place. I don't know how they found me, together with thousands of bodies. They revived me and they fed me. I revived to the point where I could walk. Another guy and me, we thought we had enough of this camp. We seen the cop was being killed, blood on the streets there. Let's walk out of here. We walked out, we walked to the nearest farm, which was very close. As for food, they gave us some milk. Went to the next place, farm, they gave us some food and put us up in a barn. We didn't know why. The next morning, on a cattle car, not a cattle car, but some wooden horse-ridden car, they took us to a nearby hospital. It was a beautiful hospital, I remember seeing. I was there for 3 weeks. They took our uniform, they gave us new clothes, revived us completely after 3-4 weeks. We came to, okay, let's go back home. How are we going to go back home? We're in Austria. We're coming back to Romania. Try to get on the train. It was totally full. So we climbed up on top of the train, lie down, and that's the way we were transported back home. How did we survive? I don't know. We got back home. There were soup kitchens set up, 5 soup kitchens set up. I went from 1 to 4, 5. Eating, that's all I cared about. My aunt and family from major city in Romania, they came to this place. I met with them. They put me up in a small apartment. And I looked at, they had a blackboard, all the names of the people, survivors. My mother's name was on it. A few days later, my mother arrived. She was in a Bergen-Belsen concentration camp in a factory. She survived. We hugged them, of course. We're happy to see each other. And my brother came home. He was 9 years older than me. He was in Ukraine for 4 years. A labor camp for 4 years. They came home. We're happy to see each other. And we decided there's no place to live for us. But my mother said, I'm too old. I'm 50 years old. I can't go with you to walk across the border. So we said goodbye to her. My brother and I, we walked across the border, illegally of course, to Hungary. We went to Budapest, where we had a cousin that lived there. We spent a couple of days there, and they got an organization that helped us get across the border to Austria. We crossed the border. My brother and I, then we went to Germany to a DP camp. DP camp for the displaced person camp. People that have nowhere, homeless, nowhere to go. That was an ugly place, but at least they had food and place to sleep. From there, my brother and I went to another DP camp, Bergen-Belsen. That's what my mother was. We stayed there in good facilities. That's where the soldiers lived. We were living there. Everything was fine. Then my brother and I went to a German town called Frankfurt. Then an organization came and took our documents, how old you are, who you are. Then, not too many days later, somebody from our organization says, are you Bernath? I said, yes. Okay. Come on, you are being transported to the United States. Oh my God, with the child transport. So, we got on a boat, on a ship. 12 days later, we arrived in the United States, in New York. It was great. The only problem was I didn't speak one word of English. They put us on a bus. We were transported to Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Put us up with a family. I went to school during the day and worked in a factory at night. I don't know when I slept. But we made it. And the only thing I had in mind is, here's a country that adopted a strange person. I got to repay. How? There was a Korean War brewing then. This was in 1947. So I said, well, let me join the Army. So I went to a recruiting station. I took a test and I failed. I went to another recruiting station. I failed again. I failed. So I didn't know what to do, so a friend of mine I was with, we decided let's go to New York. So we went to New York. I went to our first recruiting station in New York. I took the test, I passed. Great. I went to Fort Dix, New Jersey, basic training. I finished basic training. The captain says, okay, this group, you guys go overseas. It's great, I'm going to Korea. No, you're going to Germany. What? Back to Germany. Okay. So, went to Germany on a ship again. Where? To Frankfurt, where my brother was still there waiting for a visa. They assigned me to a Unit 7707, European Command Intelligence Center. I went there. They put me up for a few days. They sent me to a school. Military Police Intelligence School. I finished there. I went back to my unit. So I was with the security section, which was great. One day the lieutenant says to me, here, your name is Bernath. I know somebody in Frankfurt, in a city with the same name. You know him? I said, of course, he's my brother. You're kidding. He opened his briefcase, he took out the papers, said, supposed to interview him for a visa. He signed off on it. 5, 6 days later, my brother was on a ship coming to the United States. It's an unbelievable thing. I was sent back to the same city, and he's still there. So he came to the United States. I was in the Army for 4 years. Everything was great. I had a good time. Good work that I had. After 4 years, they asked me, I was a non-commissioned officer. They asked me to re-enlist. I said, no, I had not 4 years. I went back to New York after I was liberated, after I was discharged, where I met my wife that I knew before. We got married. I had 2 children. One of them is here. They're twin girls. What's that? What?
That's her. She's in the front.
What's that?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. All right, 3 girls. I have 3 grandchildren. We have a beautiful life. I had a good business life. Everything went well. And well, I moved to Cleveland from New York. Well, I'm here. 10 years ago, I started volunteering in a nursing home, which is helping other people. I learned that. It's very important. One day, about 2.5 years ago, the head nurse says to me, I want you to meet somebody. He took me into one of the rooms. He said, I want you to meet Dr. Silver. Okay. Dr. Silver was in U.S. Army, 3rd Army, liberating Dachau concentration camp. I want you to meet Stanley, a survivor. Oh my God. He started crying, shaking. He embraced me. He didn't talk about it for 65 years, what he saw there when they entered the camp. So a few days later, I said to him, Al, you want to come with me on my presentations? He said, oh, yes. I said, do you mind if I show you a video of the same camp that you liberated. The soldiers entering the camp. And one of the soldiers probably is you. You mind? No. The first time we went to a high school, about 200 people there, I showed the video, and he was sitting next to me shaking like a leaf. One of the soldiers probably was him. What he saw there, thousands of bodies, he could not talk about it for 65 years. Not one word. It's really crazy. He passed away 2.5 years ago. But before then, he came with me every time I had a presentation. But I had to sit next to him and hold on to him because I was shaking, just talking about what he experienced. And that's the important thing, is what we learn from our experience. Because life is nothing more than experience. Okay, a lot of people ask me, how did I survive? Number one, believe in yourself. Number two, never ever give up, no matter how bad things look. In our lifetime, we have, it's like a roller coaster, up and down. Don't ever give up. Number three, nobody is better than you, and you're not better than anybody else. Just different. And that's a very important thing to learn. That's what happened with Hitler, killing millions of people because they were better than other people. Nobody is better. You know, his saying was that Germany, today Germany, tomorrow the world. Why? Because the Germans were better than other people. Sorry. I'm going to ask you guys a question. How many gods are there? One. Does it make any difference how you pray to that God? That makes you better? No. We pray to the same God, a different way, of course. But that doesn't make anybody better than anybody. So that's what we have to learn from that experience, and that's the important thing. And that's what I learned. Applied it to my whole life. I had 8 different businesses. One didn't work, right? Get them off the shoulder. Get into another one. I did. And my daughter and my other daughter, we have a beautiful life. It's very important how your association is with your family. That's the important thing I learned. But we survived. Hitler is where? Down there. And I'm here. So who won? We did, right? There you go. There you go. You got it. Okay, can we say all Germans are bad? No. You cannot generalize in anything. You know, before the war, there were 60 million Germans. How many were SS, Gestapo killers? 10 million, 20, 30 million. How about the other 30 million? I read books on that. They suffered. So not everybody is a monster. You cannot generalize and say, this race is worse than the other. No, you can't generalize. We have to accept people for what they are. Okay. So, now comes the important in my speech here. Asking questions. That's the important thing. So, you guys are now responsible for asking questions. Can hear it? Okay, she's going to try.
First of all, thank you so much for sharing what you've shared so far with your story. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. You guys were great. Okay.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you will just take 1 minute and form a question in your head. that you might have to ask, and think about the best, most respectful way to ask it. Okay, so I'll just give you a couple, 30 seconds here. And I know Mr. Bernath has had such an interesting life. There's probably so many different things we'd like to ask him. So who has a question they would like to ask?
There.
He would like to know that the very kind gentleman that was dropping you lunches, did you ever find out who that was?
You know what? That did a lot to me, believing that not every German is a killer, a bad man. That helped me with my mind. This is where I learned something to believe in yourself. Not everybody is a monster. That was tremendous. I'll never forget that. I wish I would have seen it. I couldn't.
Did you meet any people in the concentration camps? Because I know there were stories about some people who they made friends and they talked to people in the concentration camps.
She wants to know if you met any friends in the concentration camp, anyone that you connected with.
No, I know my mother married our old dentist from Romania. He was in the same concentration camp, say, with his son. I never met him there. I never saw him there. You know why? Because I didn't look for anybody to talk to. What I cared about is get some food. It's hard to believe.
What was the most difficult year for you?
What was a difficult year? That year that I spent in a concentration camp. I can't even call it difficult. That was an unbelievable year. I remember every minute of it. But you know what? I don't live with it. I don't dream about it. Like some Holocaust survivors, they dream about it all the time. I can't. I put it, you know what it is like a parasite invading your brain if you carry a hatred or whatever. Okay?
How old were you when you came to the United States?
19.
Right.
Young kid.
When you were in the barracks, what was that like? What was your bed like? Did you have pillows or sheets? He wanted to know.
We had nothing. No pillows, no sheets. Just in our uniform, sardines lined up on a piece of wood.
Did you said that you wore the striped uniform? Was that the uniform?
Yeah, the striped uniform that we had on was like our pajamas. That's why we lived in.
She wanted to ask you about maybe what one of your worst memories was, but she changed her mind and asked what one of your best memories is.
Okay, I didn't quite understand what you said.
She would like to know what one of your best memories.
My best memories, I don't have any. The only memory I had is when I got some food. That was my only memory. Best? No. But remember what I said before, I was brain dead. I couldn't think.
How many years were you in the concentration camps?
1 year.
1 full year, and then you were in work camps?
Yes.
Okay.
Now some people from Poland, they were in a camp for 4 years. It's unbelievable.
Do you have any other Holocaust survivors that you keep in touch with or that you collaborate with?
No, I don't.
So she would like to know, you shared the day that you were looking for something to eat and you found 3 worms in the ground.
Right.
I think you said that was on the 5th of a month, right?
Yeah, that was the 5th of May, 1945.
Okay, and then she said, as you shared with us, you said you died.
Yes, I
They
died that
found
day.
you. Could you talk a little bit about that? She doesn't understand.
Yeah, I was laying with the dead, thousands of dead bodies, and the following day they woke me up. And that's why I was reborn, so I used that date for my birthday, May 6, 1945. That's why I was born, not 1926, 1945. I died the 5th day of 1945.
It's pretty amazing. Any questions from up above? Jeff, sir. Okay.
What was it like seeing your family after all the concentration camps?
What was it like getting back together with your family when you found your mother and your brother?
Yeah, it was an unbelievable thing. After being brain dead for a year, meeting with your family. Oh, by the way, like 15 members of my family were killed. Uncles, aunts, nephews, nieces. But to reunite with my immediate family was an unbelievable thing. Go ahead.
Did you, once you were reunited with your family, did any of you share your experiences where you were and what you did and how you survived? Or nobody said anything?
Nope, we didn't talk about it. We said, hello, where were you? Bergen-Belsen, where were you? Ukraine, where was I? Avon said, okay. Life. After we got married, you were what, 15 years old? My daughters? Did I ever talk about the camp?
Never.
Never talked about it.
Until we were 23 years old, and my father, the first time he ever spoke at school,
It was in 1977. My cousin, his brother's daughter, was a senior in high school at Cleveland Heights High, and the teacher was a survivor, and she asked if anybody in the classroom knew of a survivor, so she said, yes, my uncle. And he spoke to that class, and that was the first time he ever really spoke in public or to anybody about what he experienced. So that summer, he took my mother, my sister, and myself back there for the first time, so we were able to see where he was and what he went through.
Nope, we didn't talk about it for quite a while.
So, just so they could better understand that, you know, what Mr. Bernath went through and his different family members was so difficult. It was better not to talk about it.
Right.
So imagine not seeing your family for years, your mother, your brother, your aunts and uncles, and they just moved forward. So it really shares what a difficult time it was. One of the ladies up top.
I want to know if you ever reconnected with the people who took you to the hospital when you escaped.
Did you ever connect with the people that took you to the hospital?
Yes, I did. When I was in the Army, I went back. I knew exactly where the farm was. I took them a gift. I gave them some money. And they looked at me in the Army uniform. Said, well, we didn't know that you were American. I thought you were Jewish. I said, yes, I'm an American Jew. I never forget that they're very nice people. Yeah, I did. The first thing I did that when I was in the Army.
All right. Behind Mr. McClure here.
How long were you away from your family for?
Okay, about 1 year. 1 year.
Yeah.
So how were you actually able to last for so long without actually completely dying after they tried to kill you?
So how were you able to last so long with so little food?
Well, what I mean is, after they tried to kill you, did you go an entire night without dying?
After they tried to kill you, how did you go an entire night without dying?
I mean, like, how were you passed out for an entire day and not end up just
How were you passed out for an entire day before you
Well, I didn't have any strength anymore to move. I just, I got out of the totally, and I remember I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything, and I reached down to get some grass, and I found the words. And that's the last thing I remember until the army revived me.
So you, as young teenagers, you probably eat around 2,000 to 3,000, I don't know, PE teachers help me, 2,000 to 3,000 calories a day. And Mr. Bernath was having at the maximum 200 calories a day.
200 calories a day.
So when we think, oh my gosh, we're so hungry, oh, I have to go to McDonald's, we're starving. My kids are always starving. They really have you guys really don't have the concept of what he's talking about is starving to death. He weighed 65 pounds when he was liberated.
65 pounds when I was liberated. I was a skeleton. Usually I show a video, it shows skeleton. Only bones, skin and bones, nothing else.
So, we decided not to show you that video today,
No.
ladies and gentlemen, because we felt it would be just absolutely too difficult for you to see the visualizations and then not be able to unsee that to move on. And I mean, that's a testament for what Mr. Bernath has gone through. So I have just a few things to share.
Okay.
This is Mr. Bernath's third assembly of the day, and after the first group saw him, they automatically went back to their classrooms and wrote notes to him because they were so affected.
Yeah.
And so I want to read two of those to you. One of them says, "Dear Mr. Bernath, thank you so much for telling us about what happened to you. I will always try to stop hate and treat others how I would want to be treated." That's from one of our students.
Right.
And another student writes, "Thanks a ton for being brave enough to share your story. Thank you also for the time to teach us the importance of niceness. Your presentation is a value to all in this school. We will follow your advice and remember your story forever."
Thank you.
We talk so often about the importance of being kind. And, kindness costs nothing, right?
Right.
To give a little bit of your time and a little bit of your spirit to someone else. So after everything that you have been through, and I have the highest regard for you, I want you to share with our students how you have spent the past 10 days giving back. Or 10 years.
10 years. Well, the greatest thing we can do is help others. By chance, I started working in the nursing home. 10 years, 7 days a week, 2 hours every day. The best thing I have ever done in my life. Helping others. When we needed in a camp, we didn't get no help. So that taught me a lesson. My wife passed away 2.5 years ago, My daughter here says to me, Dad, you need a companion. I said, you're right, I have 65. I'm sorry, 85 in a nursing home. I need one more. They're all women, mostly. I love it. I see them every day. Except the Russians. They're Russians. I didn't speak Russian, so I learned 12 words in Russian. So I speak to them in Russian. Здравствуйте, как дела? Хорошо. And when I say that to them, they think I speak Russian. So they start talking to me in Russian. But nobody comes to see them. But I see them every single day. And it's the greatest thing I've ever done. Helping others. And that's the important thing. You know when we needed help? Did anybody in the world help 11 million people? No. Nobody helped. So there we are. So now it's time to help others. That's why I love to help.
Mr. Bernath just said to me, honey, if I can help one person, then it's all worth it.
All worth it.
And I know that you guys are going to walk out of here today with just a better understanding in your hearts and a better acceptance for those who are different or those who nag you or those who are annoying. Just let's all be a little bit more accepting, okay? And I absolutely would like you to have conversations at your dinner tables tonight, okay? I want you to be able to spread Mr. Bernath's story just one person further, all right? Again, thank you.
Thank
We
you.
will start by dismissing this section.